We have a lot of cool cultural habits in Poland. Actually, most of them can be found in other Slavic nations, countries, because our cultural borders are really blurred sometimes. But there are some, most significantly cultivated in Poland, like Berlink of Marzanna or Dożynki. It's a Polish/Slavic harvest festival, but there's one holiday celebrated only in Poland. It exists only in Polish culture. It's Barburka. It is celebrated at 4th December, and it's dedicated to miners, and it's celebrated mostly on Silesia. Silesia in Polish is Śląsk. Is our powerhouse, and there are a lot of miners and mines, and yeah, that's the thing why they celebrate this holiday there. Yeah, Barburka.
Well, I have two things. First of all, there's the Roskilde Festival. The Roskilde Festival is a large festival at which everything can happen. Like, there are no rules. Of course, there's a lot of drinking and other things that are rather illegal, but like, there are no social expectations. Like, society breaks down and you can be an individual in a way that you can't be anywhere else. You can be bloody weird and no one will care because many people are drunk, so they don't really give a shit. Like, it's a very special feeling, and I really like that. The other thing is the Folkemøde, which is Danish for People's Meet, where many of our major politicians and political parties and large organizations in the country, all those, go to this meetup on an island in Denmark called Bornholm, where everyone can go, and you can go drink. You can go drink with the Prime Minister if you want, like have a beer with the Prime Minister. You can go discuss politics. You can go discuss social issues, anything. It's just like a giant meetup, and anyone can go. That's rather unique, I believe, for Denmark.
I'd say the sprinkling that takes place during the Easter, and it's about young boys getting together, visiting women in their families or friend group, and sprinkling, for example, perfume into their hair and citing poems, thus bringing fertility.
It's our song and dance festival, and it takes place end of June or beginning of July every 5 years. On those days, over 100,000 people come together to sing, dance, or watch the concerts.
But here in Catalonia, where I live, in Barcelona, we celebrate the day of Sant Jordi. That is the day of book and literature in general, but concrete in books. So here it's typical in a couple that the boy gives a flower, concretely a rose, to a girl, and the girl gives a book to the boy. And we celebrate here. It's like the romantic day and the book day also.
Unfortunately, we don't have many or any cultural habits that would exist only in our country. That is mostly because of the fact that we have been under the Soviet Union for almost the whole second half of the 20th century. But we celebrate like the most important days for from our nation's history, like the day that we got independence at the end of the World War I, and the day that Czechoslovakia was created. This day is celebrated on 28th October.
I think one cultural habit is in New Year's Eve when it's midnight, because then there's in every radio station you can hear the Donauwalzer, and I don't know if the younger people are doing it also, but every time on New Year's Eve my parents just turn the volume on or up, turn the volume up and dance Walzer to the Wiener Walzer, and it's very funny to watch it. And last year I celebrated it with two of my other friends, and they danced and I stand next to them and was like, yeah, you're doing it good and something like that. So it's very cool, and I think that's one cultural habit. So dancing to the Donauwalzer at New Year's Eve.
The Ameisen Festival, which is celebrated every Easter Monday. We also have the dancing procession of Echternach, which is celebrated every Whit Tuesday. And finally we have the Schulmafeuer, which is an annual fun fair between August and September, and it was already created in 1340 by John the Blind.
A special event in our country is the carnival season. It starts on November 11 and ends in February, and there are people dressing up as different figures, and there are big parades, and it's a happy season.
I don't know if this is a thing in other places in Europe, but in the UK we have Pancake Day, which is on Shrove Tuesday, so the day before Lent, and everyone makes and cooks and eats pancakes, especially children. It's not just religious people that partake, but it's a fairly big thing in the UK.
Is 17th of November, where we celebrate the dedication of some students. Well, back in the 1940, when the Nazis were in Greece, they burst into a university we had, and the students stood up and fight and just sacrificed their lives for the freedom of the country and everybody back in the 40s, where the Second World War was existing.
The goat dance. A man will dress up as a goat called capra in Romania.
He wears a multicolored costume and it's accompanied by a group of singers during Christmas night. The goat will jump and dance, amusing the host, which will reward the group with food and wine.
On June the 2nd, we celebrate the Italian Republic, and the National Acrobatic Patrol flies in the sky and draws the Italian flag with colored fumes. And it's a great and spectacular event, and everybody watches it in TV or live in real person.
It's probably the marshes of Corinto, which basically occurs 7 weeks before Easter. In the old folklore, it's supposed to banish the winter and bring forth the spring.
There is a national day which takes place on the 14th of July. On this day there are some fireworks, and we celebrate the day when rebels took the Bastille in 1789 as the fall of the symbol of royalty.
This event called Ioannidis in Lithuania, and at the country's happy like 5 p.m. and probably some Slavic countries, and it takes place on June the 24th. It actually happens on the 23rd of June during the night. So we have this tradition to go out into forest and look for blossoms of ferns, which is quite like a myth or a legend, because ferns really don't blossom, and usually people go out into forests and make like a fireplace and sing songs.
That on the 6th of December we celebrate Saint Nicholas, and I know it's a cultural habit we share with the Netherlands, and the story goes that Saint Nicholas lives in Spain, and he comes to Belgium by boat together with his helpers at the beginning of the month, and he arrives in the harbor of Antwerp, and then there's a really big event that all the kids can go, and then on the night of the 5th he will go to all the houses, come through the fireplace and give the children gifts if they were good. So the story is really similar to Santa Claus, and I think it's based on the same holy person, definitely. But every year there's a big discussion about this cultural habit because St. Nicholas helpers are black, and there's a big discussion if this is ethical or if this is racist.
In Slovakia, we have a specific tradition for Easter. It's for Easter Monday. So what happened? It is a thing called oblievačka, which consists in throwing water at girls in our family so that they are healthy and beautiful.
I think there's one cultural habit that, as far as I know, there's no other countries that have it. Maybe Belgium, but I'm not sure. And it's called Sinterklaas. You might know it as Saint Nick. So at the end of November, the saint arrives in our country from Spain by steamboat, and then on the 5th of December we celebrate his birthday by receiving gifts from him.